Did you know that a way of turning life's hardest moments into opportunities was mapped out over 2,000 years ago? Imagine meeting the storms of life with a steadiness so deep that nothing can shake your center. It isn't a fantasy. It's a practice, an old one, born in the markets and halls of ancient Greece and Rome. Stoicism reminds us of a simple truth. We don't control everything that happens, but we do have agency over how we respond. In a time when uncertainty feels like the only constant, that distinction can be an anchor. This isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about understanding your emotions, guiding them, and choosing actions that align with your values. Stoicism is less talk and more practice, purpose, resilience, and a quieter kind of happiness that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. If you're navigating stress, facing adversity, or simply looking to find more meaning in ordinary days, stay with me. We'll explore what the Stoics taught and how those ideas can shape not only how we think, but how we live. Have you ever been stuck in traffic, irritated and tense, or scrolled your phone and felt your mood drop because of one careless comment? Daily life offers 100 small tests. Each one invites the same question: what's mine to control here? Epictetus put it simply: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Traffic, weather, someone else's opinion, these sit outside our control. What we can change, however, is our judgment, our attention, and our next move. Over time, this becomes a habit. You stop arguing with reality and start directing your energy where it counts. You build a calm that doesn't depend on the world behaving. You become sturdy. This is the heart of Stoicism. Not coldness, but clarity. Not indifference, but disciplined care. Wisdom in how you see, courage in how you act, temperance in how you react, and justice in how you treat others. What truly matters is not the event itself, but how we choose to meet it. And this isn't just ancient wisdom. It's supported by modern psychology as well. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That sentiment echoes perfectly with the Stoic way of living. The heart of Stoicism is simple. Our power lies not in controlling the world, but in guiding our own thoughts, actions, and responses. Take a common example: being stuck in traffic when you're already running late. You could grip the wheel in frustration, honk at strangers, and stew in impatience. But none of that makes the line of cars move any faster. Or you could take a breath, accept the delay, and use the time differently. Listen to a podcast, let an audiobook carry you, or simply sit with the quiet and breathe. The traffic hasn't changed, but you have. And with that shift comes relief, calm, and even a brighter mood. This principle stretches far beyond traffic jams and bad weather. It touches our ambitions, our relationships, and the way we meet adversity. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So when you feel frustration rising over something outside your control, pause and ask, "Is this mine to command?" If the answer is no, let it go. Redirect that energy toward your mindset, your choices, your next step. It won't always be easy, but with practice, this small shift reshapes everything. Stress softens, clarity grows, and slowly you begin not only to withstand life's challenges, but to thrive through them. Here's where Stoicism offers its most radical gift. Obstacles aren't just barriers. They can become fuel. At first, it seems strange. We're taught to see setbacks as enemies. But the Stoics flipped the story. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all taught that obstacles are not dead ends, but invitations. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private reflections, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle carries within it a chance to strengthen you, to teach you, to redirect you toward growth. The question is no longer, why me? But what can I learn? And with that, even life's hardest turns stop feeling like roadblocks and start becoming the very path itself. Life's challenges can feel daunting, but they aren't only tests of our resilience, they're also teachers. Each difficult moment carries lessons, if we're willing to look for them. This way of seeing isn't just ancient philosophy, it's echoed by modern psychology as well. Carl Jung once observed, "What you resist persists." The more we fight against obstacles, the more power we give them. But when we accept them, study them, and learn from them, we begin to move through them with strength and clarity. This is the Stoic way, transforming obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into growth. Think of rejection while applying for jobs. It's easy to spiral into self-doubt. Yet if you treat each rejection as feedback, it becomes information. Perhaps there's a skill to sharpen or a new approach to try. The rejection itself doesn't define you. It becomes a guidepost for improvement. Or consider conflict in relationships. Disagreements can feel heavy and draining, but they also offer space to practice patience, empathy, and better communication. Each conflict becomes a lesson in seeing from another perspective and in refining how we respond under pressure. At its core, this mindset comes down to a single question. What can this situation teach me? Instead of slipping into victimhood, we step into growth. Instead of resisting reality, we learn to work with it. Epictetus said it clearly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Obstacles may sting in the moment, but beyond the frustration lies the chance to build resilience, wisdom, and perspective. So the next time a challenge appears, pause before reacting. Reframe it. Ask, how can this make me stronger? What skill, insight, or virtue can I take from this? Over time, this simple shift in perspective changes how you meet life itself. Obstacles stop being barriers and start becoming pathways. This ties directly into another timeless principle, living in the present. We hear it often, live in the now. But what does that truly mean? At its essence, it's about fully experiencing where you are, right here, right now. Not dwelling on yesterday's regrets, not spinning in tomorrow's worries, but being anchored in the only moment you actually have, the present one. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. For him, presence was not a vague idea, but a practical way to clear distractions, steady the mind, and open the door to gratitude. It sounds simple, but it isn't always easy. Our minds race ahead or circle back, dragging us away from the richness of now. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics taught. Being present not only grounds us, it allows us to meet life with more peace, clarity, and resilience. Because life, with all its beauty, struggles, and surprises, only ever unfolds in the present. And learning to truly live here is one of the greatest practices we can carry. Carl Jung once wrote, "The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it." Living in the present moment is what gives meaning to the small, ordinary experiences that fill our days. It's in those moments, sharing a meal, walking outside, listening to someone with full attention, that life becomes richer and more real. Even Aristotle spoke of this. He believed that by being mindful of the present, we move closer to eudaimonia, a life of flourishing, health, and virtue. To him, the here and now was not something to rush past, but the very stage where our human experience unfolds. So how do we practice presence? It begins with mindfulness, the simple art of paying attention without judgment. Savor your food. Notice the rhythm of your steps. Listen fully when another speaks instead of rehearsing your reply. These small acts bring us back to the moment and deepen its value. Seneca put it plainly. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. He understood that dwelling too much on what's ahead or what's already behind us only robs us of the peace available now. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the past or future, but about holding them in balance, learning from what has been, preparing for what may come, and still being awake to the life unfolding here and now. Every moment offers us a chance to reset, to return, to notice. Life is happening right here, not in memory, not in anticipation, but in this breath, this step, this exchange. Now, presence naturally connects with another essential practice, self-discipline. For many, that word might conjure images of rigid schedules and joyless restraint. But in truth, discipline is less about restriction and more about freedom, the freedom to live in alignment with your deepest values. Self-discipline is choosing what serves you in the long run over what tempts you in the moment. It's the quiet strength that says yes to growth and no to distraction. Whether it's keeping to an exercise routine, saving instead of spending impulsively, or turning away from empty diversions to focus on meaningful work, these decisions trade quick pleasure for lasting fulfillment. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Discipline begins there, in the inner domain, where we learn to guide our impulses instead of being ruled by them. Seneca echoed the same truth. Freedom isn't found in indulging every desire, but in mastering them. When we govern ourselves rather than being carried by every appetite, we discover a deeper kind of liberty. Aristotle added another layer. Excellence is built through habit. Self-discipline isn't about rare moments of heroic willpower. It's about the steady daily choices that shape us into who we are becoming. Each act of discipline is a vote for the life we want to live. In presence, we find meaning. In discipline, we find strength. Together, they guide us toward a life that is steady, purposeful, and whole. Building self-discipline isn't only a Stoic idea. It also resonates with modern psychology. Carl Jung, one of the great pioneers in the field, emphasized the importance of integrating all parts of ourselves in order to live fully. That integration requires discipline, the ability to guide our desires and impulses in a direction that supports our growth and well-being. So how do we begin? Start small. Choose one area of life you'd like to strengthen, whether it's your diet, exercise, or how you spend money. Set clear, realistic goals and take it one day at a time. Each moment you choose what aligns with your values, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. As Epictetus reminded us, no great thing is created suddenly. Discipline is not built in a single act of willpower, but through steady, consistent choices. It's about progress, not perfection. Every day offers new chances to practice. At its core, self-discipline is balance, the space between what we want now and what we want most. It's often the harder choice in the moment, but one that carries us closer to peace, purpose, and fulfillment in the long run. When we commit to this path, we discover that discipline isn't about restriction. It's about freedom. The freedom to live a life shaped by intention rather than impulse. Now, alongside discipline comes another essential skill: emotional resilience. Life throws its curveballs, and with them, waves of emotion, anger, sadness, frustration. Feeling them is human, but what matters is not the emotions themselves, it's how we work with them. Emotional resilience is the strength that allows us to meet life's storms without being swept away. It doesn't mean ignoring how we feel. It means acknowledging emotions, understanding them, and then choosing how to move forward. The Stoics spoke of this often. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the essence of resilience. Understanding that while we cannot always choose what happens, we can choose how we respond. Our emotions are not chains, they are signals. They do not have to dictate our actions. As Seneca taught, freedom begins within, by learning to govern our responses, not be governed by them. Discipline and resilience together create a steady foundation. The discipline to walk the path we've chosen, and the resilience to keep walking it when life tests us. Facing adversity without losing our composure is at the core of resilience. Life's hardships are not punishments, they are tests of character. When we meet our emotions with patience and understanding, we don't just endure, we grow wiser and sturdier. So how do we develop this kind of resilience? It begins with self-awareness. To notice what we feel and how we react is the first step toward guiding our responses. It's perfectly human to feel anger, sadness, or frustration. The key is not to suppress these emotions, nor to let them dictate our behavior, but to respond in a way that honors our values and long-term well-being. Aristotle called this the golden mean, the balance between excess and deficiency. Applied to resilience, it means finding a steady middle path, neither drowning in our emotions nor denying them, but working with them wisely. Carl Jung echoed this idea in modern psychology. He taught that wholeness comes from integrating all aspects of ourselves, even the difficult emotions we'd rather avoid. By confronting and understanding them, we discover their lessons, and resilience begins to take root. So what does this look like in practice? When emotions surge, give yourself permission to feel them. Name what you're experiencing without judgment. Then pause. Step back and reflect on what may have triggered those feelings. This simple act of reflection turns emotion into insight. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it clearly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We cannot always choose our emotions, but we can choose the response that follows. Building resilience is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong practice of mindfulness, reflection, and patience. Journaling, talking with a trusted friend, or practicing stillness and breathing are all tools that can help. Most importantly, it requires compassion, for others, yes, but also for ourselves as we navigate our inner storms. Emotional resilience is not about eliminating pain or never feeling negative emotions. It's about riding the waves with steadiness and arriving on the other side with greater strength and clarity. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, understood this deeply. We cannot always shape the world, but we can always shape ourselves. And in that truth lies our greatest source of strength. Seneca and Epictetus didn't speak of death to instill fear, but to awaken gratitude. For them, remembering our mortality was not a grim exercise. It was a way to live more fully, more consciously, and with deeper appreciation for each passing moment. Marcus Aurelius often returned to this theme in his meditations. He reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." These words are not meant to cast a shadow over life, but to bring clarity. They call us to live with integrity, to act according to our values, and to release the petty distractions that so often consume us. Seneca, too, reflected on the shortness of life. He urged us not to squander our time on trivial concerns, but to use it in pursuit of what matters most, to cultivate wisdom, nurture our relationships, and savor the experiences that give life meaning. Epictetus carried the same message. Remember that time is finite, and you'll be less likely to waste it. By keeping the impermanence of life in view, we are encouraged to live ethically, to remain present, and to see the richness already around us. So how do we bring memento mori, the remembrance of death, into our own lives without it feeling heavy? It begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of treating it as a dark cloud, we can see it as a compass, a reminder not to postpone joy, not to delay kindness, not to keep our dreams waiting for someday. Think for a moment about what you've been putting off. Is there a passion you've left on the shelf? A loved one you've been meaning to call? A simple joy you keep telling yourself you'll make time for later? Later is never guaranteed, but this moment, the one you're in right now, is real. By remembering life's fragility, we learn to treat time as precious. And in that awareness, we discover how to live, not with fear, but with gratitude, presence, and purpose. Memento mori. Remember you will die is not meant to darken our days, but to bring light to them. It reminds us that time is not endless, and because of that, every moment becomes more precious. When we hold this truth close, we are encouraged to live more authentically, to speak honestly, to love without hesitation, and to be present for the life unfolding around us. This awareness of impermanence deepens our gratitude. We stop taking ordinary experiences for granted. A conversation with a loved one, a quiet walk, a sunrise. All of these take on greater weight when we remember they are finite. Memento mori becomes not a source of fear, but a catalyst for growth, for gratitude, and for a life lived with clarity. It asks us to align our choices with our values, to nurture our relationships, and to savor the beauty that is here now. Remembering that our time is limited doesn't diminish life, it enriches it. We live more fully today. To embrace memento mori is to see death not as a threat, but as a reminder to celebrate life. It calls us to make each day meaningful, not because we are afraid of the end, but because we are in love with the journey itself. To live in such a way that when our time does come, we can look back with few regrets, knowing we lived deeply, loved sincerely, and appreciated the gift we were given. This perspective naturally connects to another Stoic teaching, gratitude. On difficult days, gratitude shifts our focus. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, it reminds us of what is already here. The Stoics often wrote that happiness is not about accumulating more, but about recognizing the value of what we already possess. Marcus Aurelius urged himself each morning, "When you arise, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. That is gratitude in its purest form, the simple recognition that life itself is a privilege." Seneca cautioned that endless desire can lead us astray, always chasing after more, never at peace. He believed contentment comes not from abundance, but from learning to value what is already within reach. Epictetus, ever practical, encouraged gratitude for our current circumstances, whatever they may be. By accepting life as it is and finding worth in the present, we free ourselves from dissatisfaction and discover peace. Together, memento mori and gratitude form a powerful practice, remembering life's brevity while cherishing its richness. One reminds us that time is limited. The other teaches us to treasure the time we have. We all want to live more fulfilled lives. But how do we actually practice gratitude, especially when life throws challenges our way? It begins with small, consistent habits. Each morning or evening, take a quiet moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be grand. A warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or the colors of the sky at sunset. These simple acknowledgments slowly retrain the mind to focus on what is present and good. Over time, this gentle shift can lift our mood and reshape our outlook. Gratitude also invites us to see challenges differently. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This change in perspective allows us to view difficulties not just as burdens, but as stepping stones, lessons that deepen our resilience and appreciation for life. It also strengthens our connections with others. A sincere thank you may seem small, but it carries weight. It affirms, "I see you, I value you." In doing so, we not only brighten someone else's day, we strengthen the bond we share with them. The philosophers knew this well. Aristotle believed gratitude was central to eudaimonia, true flourishing, because it helps us recognize both the goodness around us and the goodness within. Even modern psychology affirms this. Studies show that practicing gratitude regularly can ease anxiety, improve sleep, and nurture a more positive outlook on life. Carl Jung once observed that happiness would lose its meaning without sadness. Gratitude, then, is not about ignoring difficulty, but about embracing the full spectrum of life. By holding both joy and sorrow in balance, we discover a deeper, more authentic happiness. So let's make gratitude a daily practice. Let's celebrate the small victories, treasure the quiet moments of connection, and find joy in simple things. Happiness does not give rise to gratitude. Gratitude gives rise to happiness. And just as gratitude shapes the heart, the Stoics remind us that excellence shapes the soul. Marcus Aurelius captured it simply. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. True excellence is not about words or appearances. It is about living our values consistently, even in small ways. Seneca taught that self-improvement and wisdom are part of nature's path, while Epictetus emphasized that our true strength lies in mastering ourselves, our choices, our reactions, our will. Excellence, then, is not about chasing perfection or comparing ourselves to others. It is about holding ourselves to standards rooted in our values and walking that path each day. Gratitude fills our hearts. Excellence guides our steps. Together, they lead us toward a life of depth, clarity, and meaning. Personal excellence begins with self-knowledge, understanding our strengths, recognizing our weaknesses, and taking steady steps toward growth. It's not only measured by our achievements, but also by how we respond when life doesn't go as planned. Setbacks test our resilience. They ask us, will we shrink from difficulty, or will we use it as fuel to become stronger? Aristotle captured this truth well. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Excellence is not about luck. It's about living with purpose, embracing challenges as teachers, and moving forward with deliberate care. Modern psychology echoes this with the idea of a growth mindset, the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and effort. With this perspective, struggles become stepping stones, persistence becomes strength, and effort itself becomes the path to mastery. Excellence also means authenticity. It is living in alignment with our values, even when the world pressures us to conform. It is choosing integrity over approval and taking pride not just in our victories, but in the honesty of our journey, both the struggles and the triumphs. Gratitude strengthens this path. When we appreciate where we are and what we have, we create the inner stability that allows us to grow with balance and joy. Gratitude softens the pursuit of excellence, reminding us that it is not perfection we seek, but wholeness. Yet in our modern world, where likes, followers, and comments often distort self-worth, it's easy to measure ourselves through the shifting opinions of others. But the Stoics remind us, our worth does not come from outside voices. It comes from the integrity of our own actions. Marcus Aurelius noticed this paradox. Every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others. Why do we honor others' judgments more than our own? Seneca urged us to live by our own principles rather than by the applause of the crowd. Epictetus reminded us that others' opinions are beyond our control and therefore not worth our worry. What is within our control is how we live, how we think, and how we act. That is where our freedom lies. So how do we begin to care less about what others think? By redirecting our attention inward. By asking, does this choice reflect who I want to be? Does this align with my values? When the answer is yes, external approval becomes irrelevant. Personal excellence, then, is not a trophy to display, nor a status to achieve. It is a way of living, rooted in resilience, guided by authenticity, strengthened by gratitude, and freed from the weight of others' opinions. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, not about applause, but about living a life you can be proud of, quietly, deeply, and honestly. Caring less about what others think starts with caring more about being true to ourselves. First, recognize that you are the author of your own life story. Your worth is defined by you, not by society, social media, or the people around you. It is grounded in the values you uphold, the kindness you show, and the effort you put into becoming your best self. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Are my choices guided by my own desires, or am I trying to fit into someone else's mold? Honest reflection helps realign our actions with our true self. Third, embrace vulnerability. Authenticity means being open about your flaws and accepting that perfection is an illusion. It's okay to be a work in progress, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. This honesty draws the right people towards you, those who appreciate the real you. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean offers guidance here, balance. When it comes to others' opinions, we find a middle ground. Consider constructive feedback, but never let it compromise our autonomy or self-worth. Incorporating a Stoic mindset means grounding your sense of value in your virtues, actions, and commitment to living meaningfully, not in fleeting approval or external accolades. It is about building a strong inner fortress that remains steady no matter the opinions around us. Let us commit to valuing ourselves for who we truly are. Be courageous in your authenticity. Live a life aligned with your deepest truths. Your worth is inherent and unique. By being true to yourself, you shine your light in the most genuine way. This is not just about navigating life. It's about thriving in it, with the confidence that comes from authenticity. And this naturally ties into embracing change. Accepting change isn't optional. It's essential for growth and happiness. Life's only constant is change. Learning to flow with it transforms uncertainty into opportunity. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs. Each shift, whether pleasant or challenging, has a place in our story. Seneca warned against attachment to our current circumstances, knowing that change is inevitable. He encouraged flexibility and understanding that personal growth depends on embracing life's shifts. Epictetus highlighted the power of focusing on what we can control, our attitudes and responses, rather than what we cannot. This perspective transforms change from a threat into a path for learning, resilience, and personal growth. To become more accepting of change, start by acknowledging its inevitability. Understand that each new circumstance carries lessons, opportunities, and room for growth. The more we practice this mindset, the more we navigate life with calm, clarity, and purpose. Change is the natural order of life. Everything around us is in constant motion. Seasons shift, people come and go, and even our very selves renew themselves as we speak. To embrace change is, in essence, to embrace life itself. First, mindfulness helps us navigate this flow. By being fully present in the moment, we can appreciate our experiences without clinging to them. This awareness creates space for acceptance, allowing us to move gracefully as life evolves. Second, seek the lessons in change. Every shift, no matter how challenging, carries an opportunity to grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" With this perspective, change becomes a series of stepping stones toward personal development. Aristotle spoke of the pursuit of virtue as the path to happiness, and adaptability is central to that pursuit. Navigating life's shifts with grace and wisdom allows us to find balance within life's natural flux. Modern psychology supports this approach, showing that viewing change as opportunity rather than threat reduces stress and builds resilience, preparing us to meet life's challenges with steadiness. Embracing change is not passivity, it is engagement. It is actively participating in the unfolding of our lives with curiosity, courage, and openness to new experiences. By accepting change, we invite growth, discovery, and the beauty of our own unique journey. Despite our differences, we are all on this path together. A compassionate and understanding attitude toward others enriches not only their lives, but ours as well. The Stoics recognized this interconnectedness. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that humans are social creatures designed to live in harmony and cooperation. "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee," he observed, highlighting that kindness and empathy are central to a virtuous life. By embracing change and extending compassion, we navigate life's currents with both strength and heart. We open ourselves to new possibilities, deepen our connections, and cultivate a life of meaning, purpose, and grace. This beautifully illustrates that our well-being is deeply connected to the well-being of others. Seneca emphasized the importance of treating people with kindness and generosity. He reminded us that compassion is a natural human instinct, and by helping others, we also nurture ourselves. Seneca even encourages extending empathy to those who have wronged us, recognizing that their actions often stem from their own struggles and limitations. Similarly, Epictetus taught that striving to understand others' perspectives allows us to see that everyone has reasons for their choices. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but approaching others with a mindset of understanding and empathy. So how can we practice compassion in daily life? It begins with truly listening, really hearing the stories, feelings, and experiences of those around us. Putting ourselves in their shoes, imagining their struggles, joys, fears, and hopes, bridges the gap between us and fosters a sense of shared humanity. Small acts matter too. A smile, a kind word, or a listening ear can brighten someone's day. Being present and attentive signals to others that they matter, that their feelings and experiences are valid. Compassion also means offering support in times of need, without judgment, and recognizing the inherent dignity of every person, despite our differences. Aristotle highlighted the importance of friendship and empathy in building meaningful connections. True friends share not only joys, but sorrows, offering support and understanding along the way. Modern psychology echoes the Stoics. Practicing compassion strengthens relationships, enhances our emotional well-being, and fosters a sense of purpose and belonging. Every person we encounter carries a story, and every action has a reason. By understanding and caring for one another, we create a gentler, more connected world. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of others, but also cultivate deeper fulfillment and joy in our own. Let's make kindness a habit, spreading it generously, like confetti. Creating ripples of compassion begins with reflection, small intentional pauses to examine our actions, thoughts, and the paths we've walked. It's about growth, self-awareness, and aligning our lives with our deepest values. In a world that moves so quickly, this practice anchors us, ensuring we are not simply swept along, but navigating in a direction that feels true to ourselves. The Stoics understood the power of reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, showed that even an emperor must pause to examine his life, decisions, and moral compass. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, he wrote, a reminder that our inner dialogue shapes our experience of the world. Seneca recommended regular self-assessment as a path to wisdom, likening life to a play. Are we performing the roles we truly value? Are our actions in harmony with the character we wish to embody? Epictetus encouraged ending each day with a review. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? Which duties remain unfinished? This isn't self-criticism, it's self-awareness, a conscious guide to improvement. How can we bring this practice into our daily lives? First, make it a habit. Dedicate a few minutes each day, perhaps before bed, to reflect on your experiences. What went well? What challenges did you face, and how did you respond? Even a brief mental review is valuable, but writing it down creates a tangible record of your journey. Second, use reflection to cultivate gratitude. Notice even the smallest moments that brought joy or a sense of appreciation. This balances our natural tendency to dwell on difficulties and nurtures a more positive outlook. Third, approach reflection with kindness. Recognize mistakes as opportunities for growth, not as reasons for self-reproach. Treat yourself with the same understanding and support you would offer a close friend. Aristotle taught that a reflective life is essential to wisdom. Understanding ourselves, our actions, and our place in the world is the foundation of living an examined life, one rooted in virtue and purpose. Modern psychology reinforces this. Regular reflection improves mental clarity, emotional processing, and decision-making, guiding us toward meaningful growth. Let's commit to reflection as a daily practice, a quiet guidepost in our lives. By reviewing our actions with compassion and clarity, we cultivate wisdom, resilience, and a life lived intentionally. By pausing to look back, we ensure that we are not merely drifting through life, but actively shaping it according to our values. Reflection gives us insight, helping us move forward with clarity, alignment, and a deeper connection to who we are and who we aspire to become. Let us cherish this journey of introspection, for it is in knowing ourselves that we uncover the path to true fulfillment and joy. Each lesson from Stoicism is more than ancient wisdom. It's a practical tool for navigating stress, making thoughtful decisions, and finding calm amid chaos. Remember, it's not the challenges themselves that define us, but the strength we discover in facing them, the wisdom we gather along the way, and the compassion we extend to others. Each step, each moment of reflection, each act of kindness is a brushstroke in the masterpiece that is your life. So let's not just exist. Let's live vibrantly, purposefully, authentically, and fully. As we part ways today, I encourage you not to let the inspiration stop here. On the screen, you'll find a playlist filled with wisdom, stories, and strategies to help you navigate life's twists and turns with grace and resilience. Click, explore, and continue sculpting the most authentic version of yourself. Together, let's keep growing, keep reflecting, and keep embracing the beautiful complexity of life. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Until we meet again, remember, live not for applause, but for the cause of being your most genuine self. Take care, and I'll see you on the next step of our journey.